I'm gonna make this quick. Another YouTuber, and his name is Mr. Research, did ask why we're not speaking about Gwangju, and meaning why are SYSBM not speaking about Gwangju. And my answer to that is that, number one, it's still a news story, and we like to look for patterns before we start commenting on things. Number two, that's not really a big hotspot for us. Now, the founder has an Asian wife, but I don't know what he's saying. Mad Bus Driver is not the one to whom I subscribe, to be honest with you. And that's why I've always said maybe I don't even count to be, maybe I don't count to be considered SYSBM. It's up to them if I am or not, because I kind of stumbled upon it accidentally. So I admit that I might not be even within those ranks. But as far as why black men in general who travel aren't saying much on Gwangju, I'll answer it like this. Number one, we're not surprised. We don't expect much from the Chinese anyway. It's not a major tourism hotspot for us. Black men who travel in general, be they SYSBM looking for a Stargate, meaning a wife, or just passport gang of passport brothers just traveling looking to smash, don't really focus on China. We like places where they like black men. That's not China. Now, if they're into black men in China, they don't say it. But that's what we look for. We like places where, even though some of them might be like, I don't F with niggas, some others will be like, how you doing? Well, that's not China, bro. And frankly, to be honest with you, man, I myself don't respect China. I look at them like, man, shuck this fit. That's how I look at China. That's how I look at China in general. Like, just, how about you get out my face? That's how I look at the Chinese in general. Same way I look at white folk, because they've shown almost the same attitude. Now, that was not always the case, but more recent that has become the case. You're more likely to find them being neutral towards black folks. But, like we see here in Guanzhou, you got enough Africans in one city in China. How do they respond? They act like Italy is so clean. England is so clean. And Africans just walk around carrying any virus that spreads. I mean, the audacity. My answer to that is the same as C Boogie's answer when black men starts telling the truth about the selection process of the Western black woman. The nerve of you niggas. That's my response to them. But I don't expect anything better from them. To me, they're pieces of crap. And it doesn't matter. It's not even because of what they eat or don't eat. I don't care if it's because they ate a bat or because somebody leaked something from a lab, and I think it was a lab. Whatever the case is, at the end of the day, the bottom line is I just never expected any better from them anyway. They've been going into Africa with a problem, a serious problem. And while they're there, they've been sitting there acting like, oh, the Africans this and the Africans that. They'll open up a Chinese restaurant and say, we don't serve Africans, and they'll do that in Africa. And it's because of the color of the skin. You see, and I know because they didn't only do this in Nigeria. They did this in Kenya too. And that's the problem I got with them. Because Kenyans don't go around just messing with people like that, just starting stuff. Not with the tongue, nor with the hand. Kenyans don't act like that. Since they don't act like that, I know that when the Chinese act up in Kenya, it's a goddamn problem. I know that Chinese will go into African countries, do something illegal, and then resist arrest. I don't care why they resist arrest. I only care, do they resist arrest when they're being arrested in China or when they're being arrested in white countries by white officers. If they're not they're not resisting arrest over there, I don't care what the reasons are. You don't put your hands on a black officer unless you're going to do it to every officer. But see, like I said, the whole thing is a lack of surprise, really. It's like, yeah, we figured this was coming. That sounds like them. And that's why we don't go there. That's what that's about. See, we're not writing off Asia as a racist continent. We're simply looking at certain nations. That's the answer to the question. That's why we haven't said a whole lot about it. Now, I will say this. The fact that the Chinese are going to do this to Africans and not to Europeans is one of the reasons for something I've talked about earlier, even earlier today on here, and that is colorism. What I want African Americans to realize is that oftentimes this discrimination, this unity of everybody else against us black folks is not inclusive of lighter skinned black folks from the United States. It's usually coming from other people of color. That's usually where you find it. That's where you're going to see this unanimous unity against us as a people, as a race. See, China doesn't have an issue with Nigerians because they're Nigerian. They got issue with them because they're black African. Other black Africans may have an issue with Nigerians because they're Nigerian, because they don't know that the North and the South are different. And all they know is what they see. They hear the trash talking, and they think that the Nigerian really hates everybody, so they respond with hatred. Well, the fact that when some of them take over a neighborhood and bring in drugs and prostitution, the rest of them don't stop them, so everybody else thinks all Nigerians are this way because the ones who aren't against the ones who are. That's what they think. So then you end up with what you found in South Africa. African phobia. But no, we're not okay with it. We're just not surprised, that's all. I hope that answers the question. Long live Africa. And I mean that from the bottom of my black heart and the depth of my black mind. Assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual male power, specifically because them dog-eating racists don't like it.